All right, so we are set up on YouTube Live. Thank you all. Let me make sure it's on. It is on, so there you go. And we'll also record to the Zoom cloud, so we can hopefully share this recording a little later. Thank you all for attending. Welcome to the oGoing Business Roundtable and Fireside Chat. I'm Sanjay Dalal, the founder and CEO of oGoing, as Arthur said, still oGoing after 10 plus years. So here we are on June 29th. Yay. I think there are some stats on there, like businesses that survive 10 years should get some kind of a gold medal from the president of the country. I haven't gotten one yet, but hopefully one day soon. Just kidding.
Yeah, one of us will call the president and let him know about it.
I was there at the White House, by the way, last week to see our President Biden welcome India Prime Minister Modi. So I was actually there on the South Lawn, and phenomenal experience just being there. And I shared some of that on YouTube. Well, on LinkedIn. So welcome to go check it out. But today we have an awesome roundtable on a very important topic, second month in a row. Well, we did one in May, but this one is, I believe, more focused because we have someone here amazing, who's going to share, how do we really navigate the AI ocean. And I'm really excited to talk to this gentleman, Andrew Spoeth, and I'm going to formally introduce Andrew in a second. And he's the founder of the AI Navigator. So we couldn't find a better person to equip us, hopefully, to navigate this wild ocean of AI, as we say, all the waves everywhere. But he's going to hopefully calm us down and get us, on a proper course. At least that's the key here, Andrew, right? So, and what I want to do is quickly share a quick screen here, a quote as well. So let me just go ahead and start the broadcast. And there we go. My beautiful iPad screen. So yes, today's roundtable, navigating the AI ocean and fireside chat as well with Andrew Spoeth. I wanted to kick off with a great quote. There's a lot of positive development with AI, but we also need to worry about what some of the folks have essentially called AI as the next nuclear whatever, right? And, we don't want that to happen. So I thought what better way than to start off with this quote. What all of us have to do is to make sure we are using AI in a way that is for the benefit of humanity and not to the detriment of humanity. And that's by none other than Tim Cook, the Apple CEO. A quick introduction on oGoing and what we do here. So we are an online business community. We have 125,000 members now and counting. And one of the key differences between us and others are every member on oGoing is verified. So you can join a verified business community where you connect with like-minded, purpose-driven business owners, who want to make a difference in their communities. So I welcome everybody to join. It's free to join. And once you join, go to ogoing.net. We have introduced an annual membership, to see how well we connect with the audience for new members, which is $99. But once you join, you will see it's an awesome platform to not only boost your website traffic, but also to connect with all of our members, boost your networking, collaborate with all the community, as well as boost your social media and SEO. And I'm the founder and CEO, so please reach out to me if you have any questions once you're on oGoing. We do the physical roundtables and business fireside chats. We're planning on starting a new series right after summer, so stay tuned for that. And what I want to do now is really do the roundtable with all the folks who are attending. Everybody gets about 30 seconds to introduce yourself. Please be brief. State who you are, your business, and what you do. and hopefully what's your biggest need today. And I don't know if you can compress all that in 30 seconds, but we're going to try. So let's start the round table. And I want to go in quick order here and see, who is first. First one is the lady who is clapping. So let's go with Sanela. And I'm going to time you, Sanela, this time. I'm just kidding. Go for it.
Just so you know, I just texted the president. He texted back, said, tell Sanjay I said hi, and I will be on the next fireside chat. So I'm excited. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Sanela. We'll skip my last name because that's another 30 seconds. And I simply help people sleep better at night and save business owners a lot of money. With my company, we have 4 different services that are amazing. And I will post my link in the chat so you can grab it. I'd love to have a cup of coffee with you if you decide to chit chat. Again, it's sanelasolutions.com. Greatly appreciated for having me today.
Sanela, great to have you, and always love your sense of humor. So thank you for livening up us on this roundtable. Thank you very much. Let's go with Doug Kohlmeyer. Doug, go ahead, please.
Hi, Doug Kohlmeyer, K2 Sales Consulting. I work with small to medium-sized companies to help them improve their technology to improve their top line. I also work with University of California, Riverside in their Office of Technical Partnerships. And what we do is we assist technical startups to commercialize their products and try and attract new business to the Inland Empire. Thank you. Glad to be here.
That's great, Doug. And maybe a quick update on the UCR side. How are the startups? Is AI like the whole thing now? I mean, people are embracing AI big time in startups.
Yes, I think they are. Probably the kids in the colleges are probably more so than the people in the communities.
Right.
But we have all kinds of tech. I mean, we have med tech, ag tech, deep tech, you name it. If it's technology associated, we will assist the people in trying to assess how good their ideas are and whether or not somebody's willing to purchase them, basically. So we take them out and tell them to go talk to customers, and then we also help them to create a pitch, essentially eventually for investors. So that's
excellent. Yeah, absolutely, I appreciate that, Doug. Let's go with Hark Wasa with Pop White. Hark, go ahead, please. Unmute your mic. Yeah, there you go.
Hi, I'm Hark Wasa. Before, after, that is what we are. We make world smile better, teeth whitening products. We are growing very rapidly. This month, we just had a best month of the year. We just did a 50% more revenue this month. And all of that is because we are advertising heavily in social media, as well as sending out thousands of samples to dental offices. So growth is getting faster. We are raising $500,000 with a 10x return in the next 5 to 6 years. If anybody interested, contact us. Thank you.
Yeah, and a quick update on Pop White. They're definitely doing something amazing. They call it the power of purple, and they are, it's a teeth whitening all natural product. Hark, if you don't mind posting the link in the chat, I'm sure people who are attending would love to see what you do there. We have Eileen Dewar. How are you, Eileen? Welcome back.
I'm good, Sanjay. It's good to see you. I never left. It's just that my calendar keeps conflicting, with these events. So I was able to make this happen today. So my name is Eileen Dewar, and I'm with Engage PEO, and we do the full outsourced HR for small businesses. So everything from the basics of doing employee payroll, building the employee handbook, all the policies and procedures. Our big point of difference is that our HR consultants are licensed employment attorneys. So that's who the business owner gets to work with. And then through economies of scale, yes, and pooled buying is that we're able to offer Fortune 500 company benefits at very small business prices. So if any questions about HR, please, reach out to me, Eileen with Engage.
That's great, Eileen. Good to see you. Thank you. And we have our returning roundtable participant and our former guest as well, Wardlane Crawford. Dr. Crawford, how are you? Welcome back.
Oh, thank you. I'm really glad to be here. It's just a wonderful time of life for me. I am a whole life coach. I help people to unite their internal voices, all the things that are going on within you. I know we all get very busy and there's just all these different aspects of ourselves that sometimes are interrupting and blocking our success. I'm an inspirational speaker and an author, and I am launching my 5th book on July 4th. And I'd love for you guys to help me out to become a bestseller on Amazon. And it's called The Power of Wholeness. And it's discover a more fulfilling, successful, and rewarding life. And it really is about this infusion integration technique that I've developed and I've used for over 40 years with myself and with clients. And it's awesome. And if you know anyone that is really struggling with a lot of different events in their lives and or illness, love affair problems, any aspect of your life, this integration technique works, because what we do is we unite the subpersonalities that are fighting with each other. Why are they fighting? Because they hold different beliefs, opposite beliefs, and they all think they're doing something for you. So thank you, and I'm really happy to be here.
Thank you, Dr. Crawford. I appreciate that. Next, we have Cindy. Cindy Zulsdorf. Cindy, how are you? Welcome.
I'm good, Sanjay. I just shared out the feed here on a few socials, so thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, since you're streaming. Oh, good to see you all. We work with companies to make sure their marketing starts a sales conversation. So most of our clients are working in high tech and making hardware and software, and we want to make sure that any kind of marketing starts a sales conversation. And then also people call me up all the time and ask me what marketing's working. So I wrote down the 7 things we do most for clients, and I have a little book that talks all about it. Nice to meet you.
Thank you, Cindy Z. I appreciate it. Arthur, welcome back. Arthur Tassinano. How are you, Arthur?
I'm very well, Sanjay. Always good to see you. As I said, I think it's been going on at least 10 years.
Yes,
But
sir.
tell everybody what I do. I'm an author. I've authored several books. I'm kind of your relationship guy, the relationship guy to help you understand your relationship with yourself to begin with, because most of us really don't understand who we are. And what I did was I created a book called Your Key to Love and Happiness. And this is actually a workbook. It's something that you can dive deep into to find out why you do the things you do, why you act the way you act. And it helps you with your relationship with yourself, but your relationship with everyone else. So I'm a coach and a consultant. I like to work with leaders and companies because we know how difficult that position can be and how hard it can be to have good relationships in the company. And as we all know, your relationships with everyone, and obviously including yourself, is the only way to have more wealth and happiness in your life. So I do a lot of that, and I've created a lot of other things in my life as an entrepreneur, but that's what my focus is today.
Absolutely, Arthur. And when you send me the email about the the games thing, please mention this. I think this will be a great future topic, on how to build relationships. So let's talk about that as well. Okay.
Thank you very much, Sanjay.
Thank you, Arthur. Yeah. We have 2 days in a row. Richard Fleming. Richard, go ahead. That is, I met him 2 days in a row.
Good morning, everybody. I know, Sanjay, we're going through withdrawals. We saw each other all day yesterday, and now we see each other this morning. I am so happy. It's great. Sanjay and I met both volunteering at a innovation startup for Thai years ago. So I am a neuroscientist and I am an architect. So I am a neuroarchitect. I focus on the intersection of science and design. I'm well known as being the Walt Disney Company architect. I have companies around the world. I'm a global company. I have offices in London, Paris, Milan. Here in the United States, I'm in Orange County. I live in Irvine. And I focus with vision setting for corporation CEOs. And I attached him my LinkedIn profile if anyone's interested. And I have to say, Arthur and Valerine, I would like to write a book. So I am so inspired by you too. You do have to tell all the tips and tricks. Getting that first book out has been like, I can't let the baby go.
It's Wordlane, but that was close. Okay. Thanks, Richard, for joining. Suhas, go ahead, please. Suhas Gujarati. Met him yesterday as well. So thanks, Suhas.
Yeah, I mean, it was great meeting you, Sanjay, quite after some time. Things are going well. I am working from Irvine and I'm working with a Google partner. So currently what we are helping is helping people and companies to get the most that they can from Google with their investment in, let's say, Google Workspace. So many new things are happening in technology, and, it's even like everyday use thing like an Excel sheet or, Word or even simple email. So much AI goes into that. So, we are helping people to stay abreast of what new things are happening, helping with large projects like cloud transformation as well. I also work with a company which has a low code, no code platform. So if somebody wants to quickly develop something, a proof of concept, or, having trouble with a lot of customers asking for a lot of customizations, we can help you as well, get to the breeze. So anything to do with IT in terms of, Google or low code, no code, please feel free to reach out.
Thank you, Suhas, and we also have joining. Is it Miss Fleming? Go ahead, introduce yourself. Richard, okay, go ahead. No, okay, you're on mute. Sorry.
Richard sent me his link. I didn't realize that I'm showing up with his
no worries.
his name. No, I'm Cynthia Kirkaby. I'm a startup founder. I have a company in advertising technology called Imprint AdTech, and a second company in that's for kids called WizWits. And I'm also a university advisor for startups, and I'm on the advisory board at UCI for the Masters of Innovation and Entrepreneurship.
All right. Thank you. And please do share your contacts in the chat, everybody. And that way we can network online as well after this event. So thank
Richard,
you for joining.
Richard, you grew your hair so fast, just like three.
I know.
So next we have Pankaj Dayal. Pankaj, go ahead, please.
Good afternoon, all. This is Pankaj Dayal. I'm up in Palmdale, and my company is P&R Financial Services. Our focus is employer-sponsored retirement plans only. So there are three parts to it: plan design, what is the right plan for the client, how to implement it, and how to monitor it on an ongoing basis. Being independent, I am not married to anyone other than the client, or actually, sorry, I don't want to go there. But anyway, I am loyal to the client, and that's all I have to worry about, not the companies, because being independent, that's a great choice I have. Any questions? I would like you to think of me as a resource on retirement plans for small businesses. Thank you.
Thank you, Pankaj, for joining, and can't say enough about Pankaj and his integrity. So yeah, if you want a trusted advisor and a partner for retirement, definitely welcome you connecting with Pankaj. Nitin Kapadia. Nitin, go ahead, please. Unmute your mic.
This is Nitin. This is Nitin Kapadia. Actually, I'm outside and I had a little bit of conflict with some other lunch meeting as well, but I just stepped out. And Sanjay, it is good to see you. We are basically a Delphi Solutions. My experience is from engineering and facility standpoint. I've done some variety of industrial projects, and then my last job was at Amgen Thousand Oaks, which is basically one of the largest biotech company. We ventured out as a Delphi Solutions actually to provide the services to various pharmaceutical clients. Our current focus is basically in California, but we do also basically evaluate the variety of technologies that helps pharmaceutical companies in terms of RFID technology for tracking their equipment and devices, and also on the energy side as well. And we try to basically leverage the AI technology platform to kind of monitor real-time energy consumption, savings, things of that nature. Okay. So we service exclusively in the pharmaceutical industry, and that's how we are connected also with the technology, so that we can basically kind of educate our clients so that they can benefit on. And this topic was very, very interesting to me, close to my heart. So there is a lot of AI hype actually going around.
Yep.
So Sanjay, I think at the start of the meeting, actually, that you shared the quote from Tim Cook, that was very, very, I would say, timely.
Thank you. Thank you,
And
Nitinji,
that's where
for
we are.
joining. Yeah. Thank
Sure,
you. Thank you.
no problem.
Yeah.
Thank you. And sometime I think, Sanjay, you and I can connect together actually face to face as well.
Absolutely. Look forward to
And
that.
I will,
Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Bye-bye.
Yes, Nitinji. Thank you. We have Nikita. Nikita, go ahead, please. Nikita Ganatra. Nikita, are you online? Okay, I guess we'll get back to her. Kumu Gupta. Kumuji, go ahead, please.
Yeah, hi. So this is Kumu Gupta from Boston. I'm an independent consultant in the high-tech space, primarily semiconductors. And in the free time I have, I do a lot of community volunteer service. So.
Thank you, Kumuji. Appreciate you joining. We have Paula Roberts. Paula, are you online?
I am.
Okay, go ahead.
So hi, everyone. I'm Paula Roberts. I have Aqua Community Relations Group in San Diego. I primarily serve as a subcontractor or direct contractor on government projects, providing public outreach, work a lot with engineering and construction firms. I also do small business work in the marketing sphere. I especially love the creative strategy stuff. So if you would like somebody to take a look at what you're doing and give you some tips on how to make it more effective, that would be one of the things I do. And then the other piece I'd like to share is I'm active on Alignable as well. And I just started a role as the group leader for the government contracting and resources group. So if you have any interest in those spheres, I'd be happy to talk to you or have you join that group. It's free to join. Thank you.
Thank you, Paula. Please do attach the link if you don't mind in the chat. That'll be great. Yeah. We have Brian here, Brian Boynton. Brian, go ahead, please. Brian, are you online? Okay. All right, we have Dylan. Dylan, go ahead, please. Dylan Dahl. Dylan, are you there? Okay, and well, I guess some folks are on mute. I hope you can unmute your mics. And we have Brad Foster. Brad, are you online? All right, did I miss anyone? Has Patel, Has Smukbhai, are you online? Okay, so, okay, Hasmukh Bhai, go ahead, unmute your mic, please, yeah. Your mic is on mute, Hasmukh Bhai. Your mic is on mute, please hit the unmute button. Yeah, sorry.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes, sir.
Okay, excellent. Well, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Has Patel, Hasmukh Patel. I'm basically retired. However, I get involved in startups, and I also provide a range of basically voluntary services to academia. So I'm one of the judges at the UCI startup yearly competition, and also sit on a number of federal government working committee. So really, basically, I'm here to learn about some of the needs, and somehow I can help anyone, regarding getting some federal funding or providing some mentoring, basically. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Has, for joining. Great to see you. Looking great there, sir. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. So now, of course, I'm going to introduce our speaker here, and let me just go ahead and do that. All right. How many of you thought this is actually how Andrew looks? No, this is an AI-generated avatar of Andrew Spoeth, the author of and the founder actually of the AI Navigator. And Andrew, as the former director at New York-based Seer Technologies, which actually sold to Broadcom, if you're keeping track, for $19 billion. Andrew knows a thing or two about the power of technology to drive change, and a lot of AI is about, we're going to talk about is how AI can drive change within your business or your professional lives. He's a San Francisco-based advisor. He has honed his skills in social media, marketing, automation, and enterprise software, a great combination there, becoming a beacon, if you may, for companies seeking to navigate the rapidly changing tech landscape. A lot of work he does is in technology. And most importantly, his new work, through his work with the AI Navigator, he empowers businesses to leverage technology to increase efficiency and enrich lives, proving that technology, when used wisely, is indeed a force of good, and kind of goes back to our former comment, as well as a quote by Tim Cook on this as well. So with that said, let me pass the mic to Andrew. Andrew, how are you?
I'm great, Sanjay. Thank you so much for the invitation. It's wonderful to be in this setting. It feels like an intimate setting where I can connect with some fantastic people. I too would like to write a book someday too, and I have a lot of respect for those of you that have written one book or two or five. And the range of businesses and expertise that we have here is inspiring. So I'm very happy to be here.
Thank you, Andrew. So Andrew, I'm going to ask a few questions, but before I do that, did you want to share maybe a quick overview of what's happening in the world of AI? Or do you want me to ask you questions first, then we jump into that? I'm happy either way. What do you want to do?
What if we do the discussion Q&A section afterwards?
Okay.
And I've got a few slides which I'll go through rather quickly. It has a lot of information, but I'll go through it quickly, and then we can discuss a whole range of things related to AI. And also, I am happy also to send what I'm presenting to you all afterwards too. So just, in case you're trying to quickly take screenshots or write down URLs, believe me, it's a bit too much to write down. So I'm happy to share that.
That's great, Andrew. Look forward to that. And I'm glad you're going to be sharing with us. Thank you. Yeah.
All right. Let me share my screen.
All right.
Okay, and I'll switch to this here. So I imagine, so I guess Sanjay, you'll remain on mic. Can you see my browser?
Yes, sir. We can see it. Yeah.
Navigating the AI ocean. All right. So I'm curious. Some of you talked about AI briefly. If you've changed the way you've used AI in the last 6 to 9 months, maybe drop a quick comment, maybe type a 1 in the chat. I'm curious how many of you have changed the way you work with AI, let's say in the last 9 months or so.
Can I do 1 + 1 or?
Yeah. Exactly. Exactly. I suspect that it's probably a lot of us. AI is not something completely new, but there's been a great amount of change. So just to step back a little bit, what are we talking about when we talk about AI, artificial intelligence? So machine learning is where we use statistical techniques to learn from data and help figure out what's going to come next. And it's a relatively well-established field. Natural language processing is where we use machine learning to try to extract meaning and to predict word sequences and sentence sequences of human speech and human language. Computer vision is also somewhat distinct and very interesting. It's applied to everything from autonomous vehicles to things to image generation tools, which a lot of us use now. Robotic process automation is also a huge field in itself, and reinforcement learning, of course, is a technique which is used when training machine language models. So, what has happened in the last few months, and why did a lot of you, or why did Sanjay want to type 1 in the answer? Well, things have really exploded over the last few months. March was a tremendously busy month in AI. Last November, ChatGPT was released. Google followed suit. Microsoft has a big play here as well, and it has really drawn the attention of the media, of us as entrepreneurs, and it has consumerized. We have seen the consumerization of AI, which has enabled more people to use it, and which has created this explosion. We have now over, and I'm sure you've come across quite a few of them, over 5,000 AI startups, and some of them are just, even just days old. So there's a tremendous opportunity to get involved in AI if you're looking to build something which leverages the technology, to build a large language model, to build visual tools, and also to adopt some of these tools to adapt the way that you run your business. But there are a lot of things that we should think about as we're doing this. Let me just give a couple of quick examples of how some businesses have adopted AI, and in the Q&A, I'd welcome your stories as well. We have a wine delivery company in New Zealand, which was able to serve more customers using virtual assistants. Now, these are virtual assistants trained on their proprietary data and their documentation. And using AI, what they were able to do is train this model and this chatbot to understand some of the nuances and also colloquial terms. For example, the word sweet or dry can have many different meanings. And then having an intelligent system being able to interpret the inputs of customers, allow them to deliver inquiries more effectively. And then you also have, for example, advertising. AI has been used already for years. And a Japan-based agency did a test, parallel, an A/B test, and a campaign which leveraged artificial intelligence to refine ad copy, to refine targeting, was way less expensive. So 81% cheaper. And so they got a lot more money for their buck. And also were able to, for the same budget, increase the overall footprint of their campaign. Another example here of using large language models and natural language, California-based in Magoosh, they were growing, and they were not able to keep up with their customer support requests. So what they did is they figured out, okay, some need to be answered right away, and then there's some which are more complex. So we'll have our human agents focus on the ones that are more complex, and then we'll have AI answer the ones that need an immediate but simpler response. And so that cut their queue in half, and the AI was actually 92% accurate when it came to predicting tags. So just some examples and some reminders of what AI can do. Now, there's been an explosion. I mentioned 5,000 plus startups, and I'm tracking many of them, and I wanted to share some of them with you. Now, what are some of the first use cases we think of when it comes to ChatGPT or Google Bard or tools like DALL-E? we think of marketing, we think of copywriting. Let me share some quick ones with you. And like I said, we'll have a way to share these with you afterwards. But a lot of you will have built audiences and communicate them via email. And we all know how important the subject line is. So there's a tool for that. There's an AI for that. How about reaching out to people with cold emails or LinkedIn? There's also a tool for that, an AI tool. Jasper AI, perhaps one of the better known AI tools, is something that people use for creating social media posts, for creating blog content. It's kind of like a step between ChatGPT and a marketing manager. Of course, Midjourney, DALL-E for image creation. My background image was created just for this meeting with Midjourney and ChatGPT. And also logo design. I've experimented with some of my own side hustles, and Looka, for example, is a service I use to design a logo. For sales, Jason AI. There's also Hello Robin. I'm not sure if a lot of sales reps are called Jason or Robin, but there's also Meets AI, which is an AI sales lead generator. Then there's also business operations. So things like process automation, process analysis, business planning, or even note taking. Here are some of the leading tools, the best rated tools when it comes to managing your business and in a more broad sense. Fireflies for note taking, and I sat beside a developer who was working on a competitor to Fireflies.ai, and it was remarkable. This was a noisy space. He held out his phone. He recorded the conversation with his app, and it's disseminated who was saying what and what the action items were from the meeting. And it was integrated with Google Calendar. It was pretty remarkable. What about hiring, talent acquisition? There are also tools for this area too. For example, during job interviews, taking automated notes, or creating job descriptions and interview questions, and even exercises for candidates. You can look to careers.ai. And there's also, for example, a LinkedIn manager, which helps out recruiters on LinkedIn, and even accounting, which intuitively makes sense, actually, considering that AI is really well versed in dealing with big data and with large amounts of it. So tools like TrueWind, Finance Brain, and Genius Sheets are all tools that come highly recommended. So perhaps you're using some of these. I've used some of these, and I'm also always trying to stay on top of the latest ones. But it is challenging. And that is one of the reasons why I've built something called the AI Navigator, because when we have a Precambrian explosion like this, there is great opportunity, but there's also risk. And we need to be able to focus and have a map. So I thought that the Navigator theme would be a lot of fun. It's also ambiguous whether you are a pirate seeking for gold, or whether you're a Navy captain helping, stay the course. I think it is both at the same time. So I invite you to navigate a tools list that I'm curating in nearly daily. Now, my background is in marketing. And as I was building this list, and as I continue to build it, I've also learned a lot about how some companies are great at messaging and how some really fall down and miss the mark. And this is a helpful reminder. I've worked in marketing for over 20 years, and also worked for a marketing agency, and I've taught digital marketing. And I think it's a good reminder for us to understand the power of a good top-line message. What I thought we'd do is I'd like to spend a couple minutes now, and I'd like to, with your help, evaluate how well this AI startup has done with their top-line messaging. Let's click into a couple. And what I invite you to do is take a quick glance at it, and then in the chat, tell me what you think. Do they hit the mark on their top-level messaging? Is it a 10 out of 10? Is it a 5, so-so? Is it 0? Do they completely miss the mark? Let's take 60 seconds to look at Dashworks. What do you think? Is their messaging, top-level messaging, a 10 out of 10?
What is the question, Andrew, again? Sorry.
So, what do we think of this landing page, this AI tool? We and I evaluate a lot of them, and it's been a really interesting lesson in good messaging and not so good messaging. So I'm curious what we all think here on the roundtable. What's our first impression of this page? Is it very clear, strong messaging? 10 out of 10, 6 out of 10, 2 out of 10? Type that in the chat.
So when I'm looking at the page, I'm seeing this running chat on the right side. Is that part of the page?
It is. It is. We're looking at their webpage just as it is.
Okay, I see. All right, let me share my thoughts.
Just going to pop into the chat here.
Yeah, make sure you guys are chatting for everybody and not direct message. Yeah.
Okay, so I'm seeing 6 out of 10, 7. Certainly gets my attention, but skeptical that Dashworks can live up to the hype. Oh, I also heard a 10. Okay. Okay, so no really poor marks, but a lot of strong marks. Let's look at a couple more here, and you'll see some of the diversity that we have here. So I'm looking at the AI tools listed on the AI Navigator. DocuAsk. Here's another one. How good are they? How good are they at their? What do you think? Type in the chat.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah.
So, as a visual learner, just to say it, it's a lot of the negative space and the positive space, and the lack of images is fascinating to me because I am a global person, so I'm jumping into different languages around the world. I think that if you could visually tell your story, it would be easier than constantly the language interpretation. So I think it's just absent of a right brain person, left brain, it's very analytical.
It's very.
I mean, yeah, I feel like there's too much text, and I mean, I get it. It's direct what they're trying to say, but
yeah.
And Paula has a great point. Yeah.
Jump into the comments briefly. Okay, difficult for ADA audiences. 4 out of 10, 7. Gives a clear step of what to do next. Social proof. Okay. Yeah, social proof is always something which can really lower the risk for the potential buyer and show that this is not a solution which is in isolation. Let's look at another one here. Let's look at.
But Andrew, I have a question for you. I mean, you're talking about their messaging marketing wise. But a lot of these are having access to your personal documents. There's a real security issue there, especially some of the groups don't have a security privacy rule on their site. You don't necessarily know where they're from. It could be an out-of-state group, not in the United States or not in the UK, or you don't know necessarily where they're coming from. And you've got to be very careful what you're giving them access to. The ones you were giving with financial information, you don't know what they're doing with that data.
Well, I agree. I would like to chime in with what Cynthia said about the security too, is that I serve on a few association boards, and we've had issues with people signing their AI note taker thingy in, and even them not being there, that they're capturing everything of the meeting, which you really cannot do with a board meeting. We've had to kick them out, but people understanding that and how much they capture before we kick them out.
Yes. Yeah, two really interesting points. So the first one being these tools, they make some bold claims in terms of their capabilities, but what does it mean for my business's security if I'm signing up to this, if I have my employees using this?
I mean, you don't want them uploading a document from your company that has, intellectual property information.
Yes.
Because they're capturing it on the other end.
Yes, yes. And these are real concerns. So this is thank you both for those comments. So this is a segue into what I'd like to talk about next is, okay, so we have this explosion of startups, of capabilities, but what does it mean for us as entrepreneurs and businesses, and what are the challenges that these startups face? If you are a business customer, you have to think about these. You have experience working with lawyers. You have sensitive proprietary data. You have customer data in your database, which you have to work with following certain rules, whether it's GDPR or the California Consumer Privacy Act. These are all things which make it more challenging for businesses, and especially large businesses, to buy a product. So this is a challenge which you face as a business. And also, if you're an AI startup, this is something which they are working to try to resolve, right? So that is something where things are going. And the larger companies that have AI solutions they won't be free solutions necessarily, but they will have more infrastructure and more capabilities which will help de-risk these solutions. So with that, and I mean, this is a whole field which is in a big area of discussion. Let me walk through 10 steps which you may have taken already or are thinking of taking when it comes to AI, some actionable strategies. And then we will be close to going to the AI. So before you start with adopting AI tool, it makes sense to think about your business first and the needs of your business. What are the current challenges that you're facing when it comes to being more profitable or serving more customers or expanding to a new market? Starting with those challenges first will help you identify the needs, and then it makes sense to start looking for a solution. The next thing is start small. As one of my former, one of my favorite managers once said, start small but move quickly. You see a lot of hype in saying AI is going to take over, it's going to automate your business completely. Hollywood's going to be replaced, just these grandiose statements, which may work good for a viral tweet, but not necessarily good for your business. So don't try to automate 5 things at once. Focus on one first, test it, and see what kind of results you get. Do research a range of tools. You might find something that comes into your inbox or is recommended, and even here that I'm suggesting today or on the AI Navigator. But do some comparison before you do choose one, because it is an investment, or most certainly a time investment that you are embarking on. Number 4, invest in training. Now, this has a couple of meanings. You could think, okay, training for you or your team, your colleagues, but very importantly, AI only works well or works much better when it's trained with quality data. So you may be implementing a chatbot for your website, and then you have to decide which documentation you're going to feed to the AI. So the quality of your documentation is going to dictate the quality of the result of the AI. Similarly, and you might think, okay, wait, I'm not building a chatbot, but this applies to all of us. The prompt that you give, for example, ChatGPT, the quality of the language you use and the clarity of thought plays a big role in the quality of the response, or breaking it down into discrete steps. For example, when you're prompting an AI, will lead to better results, and that is in a way part of the AI training. So, and then set a certain time frame for you to evaluate the effectiveness of the AI solution. Say, okay, I'm going to work with this for 2 days or for a week or whatever, and then don't be afraid to swap it out with a different tool if it isn't meeting your needs. And the best AI solutions are going to be the ones that don't work in isolation, but rather the ones that can connect to your existing tech stack. That will make your existing technology better and perhaps fill some gaps. So if you're using, for example, HubSpot or a CRM like Salesforce or something like WordPress, these are all technologies and platforms which have AI integrations. And so always look for solutions that can help your existing tech stack work better. And in adopting these tools, know that things are changing rapidly, and your competitors are also probably experimenting with some of these tools or similar tools. So your workflows yesterday are not going to be the same ones that you have now or the ones that you will have in a year or 2. And your business model may even change due to AI. It may open up new markets for you. You may want to shift some of the way that you serve customers, depending on which industry you work in. Of course, we have to understand our responsibilities, and this has been brought up on the call. I'm glad you mentioned it. Your proprietary data, your intellectual property, your customer data, artwork, things that may be under copyright. If you are training on data sets, you have to understand what rights you have and where you have to be careful. So as a business, it does make sense for you to consult legal professionals there. And then measure and evaluate. So think about your future press release or your case study where you'll have a story to tell and saying, okay, we have pivoted not pivoted, but adapted to AI in our business and leveraged some of these tools. And this is the impact it had. And having a number, for example, 89% cost reduction or an increase in efficiency will give you a compelling story to your colleagues, to your board of directors, to people who who you work with. And then keep learning, stay updated. One of my favorite resources that I've been using lately is by Andrew Ng. He's one of the pioneers of AI. I got to see him at an event recently in San Francisco. He's a bit of a rock star in the AI world, and he's got some free resources at deeplearning.ai, deeplearning.ai/courses. And some of the courses are free there. And there are a lot of resources, some widely viewed on places, things like YouTube, but then some more specific too. So I encourage you to check those out. So what we've seen over the last few months, it feels like we're drinking from a fire hose or wrestling a fire hose. And you're not alone. Everybody is going through this, and it's exciting, it's scary. We don't know exactly where it's headed, but we've seen other cycles before: the advent of the internet, social media, web 2. It's significant, and I think the more we understand it, the better we are prepared to take advantage of it, to position ourselves as individuals and as businesses. And I think we have a responsibility to ourselves and to our colleagues to be in the know. So that's why I built the AI Navigator. I'm really glad that I've leveraged my experience of seeing these other digital waves and my marketing background to build this. It's really forced me to stay on top of things, and I'm really excited to share it with you. So what we could do is the website has as a subscription. You can enter your email address there if you'd like, the AInavigator.com, and I can email you the URLs that I shared today and the resources. I'd be happy to do that. So there you go, a quick walkthrough. I can't wait to hear what kind of questions and commentary you have on what you've just seen.
Yeah, no, thank you, Andrew. If you can stop the screen share, we'll go back to the main session. I think there was some technical issue I saw where we were seeing a video getting stuck there, but in any case, I made you the host, so I don't know if that made a difference. But I thought it was a wonderful talk. I mean, I learned a lot, Andrew, from what's happening in the AI world, all the different, I didn't know that there are like 5,000 startups. I had no idea. I thought maybe there were 500. So I was out by a factor of 10 for sure. And I guess so. It seems like the AI is the new buzz, after, we've gone through these cycles, from, internet and then e-commerce and, after that, the whole e-business and, all this new technology. And now I think AI is kind of SaaS and now AI, right? So it appears that everybody is on the AI, at least from a startup game point. But, the key question is from a business owner's vantage point. I mean, you already explained quite a bit, but if I'm a business owner today, let's say a small business, maybe 5 to 10 employees, I mean, where do I really begin? And should I look at the website as a way to start because that's where a lot of interactions happened, or should I look at one of my processes where maybe there is a lot of redundancy going on, so maybe I want to automate some of that? I mean, what is the right place for me to think about and begin?
Mm-hmm. So AI has quickly expanded to fill a lot of voids and areas of opportunity. So if we think about these big players from Microsoft, AI, Google, and then also the mid-sized companies and all these startups, the reason they are working on these websites and these services is to serve businesses. they're doing this not just for fun, but rather they see opportunity. And some of them are growing rapidly. A lot of them will, then restart. And so there are services for so many different business challenges you may have. And so starting with the business challenge and stepping back and thinking, gosh, what is really frustrating right now for my customers or for me, and where are we really struggling? We can't get ahead, or it's taking us too long. And then using, I would say, a chatbot like ChatGPT to help frame the problem. It's helped me sometimes with finding different ways to articulate the problem I'm facing, and then it'll say, okay, well, here's some structure you could think of, and then pick one of the opportunities, whether it's perhaps creating content faster, or thinking of better email subject lines, and then trying that for a week or 2 cycles, whatever.
Yeah.
And then afterwards, important is just saying, okay, well, how did we do? Did it cost me more time? Was it more difficult? How were the results? Was the email open rate higher or lower? And then block and tackle. So yeah, don't try to tackle 5 things at once, because you won't get traction.
It's a great point. It's a great point. And I have just one more question before we open it up for the audience. You already discussed the key trends, advancements. I think you shared quite a bit, so that answered some of that. But I think you mentioned there was a question raised earlier about the legal implications. I think my concern is a little more on the ethical side. What are some of the ethical considerations, if you may, in implementing AI as a business practice? Do we need to worry about some things? Both from employee relationships as well as customer and partners. Is there something there which might come back to bite us a little later on? So maybe you can delve into that.
Yeah, I'm glad you bring that up, Sanjay. This is an important one. We've had AI scientists speak up about this, business leaders, pundits. So a few things. AI can help us automate communication, also in a business, for example, or when it comes to communicating with employees, even making decisions. For example, decisions about who to let go in a company. So there is, when we're talking about AI ethics or AI Bill of Rights, one of the terms that comes up is transparency, disclosure, transparency in when AI is being used to perform vital tasks, which normally you'd think would be a human task, right? Just so you don't fool people. And we've seen this in other areas, for example, in marketing, when it comes to influencer marketing. It was the Wild West when things started, but now, for example, when you have an influencer pitching a product, they have to disclose that it's a, and there are rules for that now. So we've seen the EU make some bold steps here with their AI Act, which is going through the legislative process. And Joe Biden was here for AI meetings last week as well. I think so. The more we understand about AI, the better we'll be positioned as individuals and businesses. I think we should, stay on top of the ethics discussion, but our decisions are not the same as the decisions that Google or OpenAI is making. We're not training these commercial large language models. They all have a huge responsibility to society, but it's not the same responsibility as us, right?
Yeah.
So when you hear people talking about a 6-month freeze in AI development, they're not talking about us as businesses, that we should ignore it, because that'd be the exact opposite effect, right? We have to. Okay. be careful what you're training. If you're training models, be careful what you're using to train the data. Be upfront with, if you're communicating with somebody, whether it's a person or if it's just, you as a deep fake, whether it's text or video. That sort of disclosure, I think, is the right thing to do and will probably be the legal thing to do moving forward.
No, absolutely. And we had a speaker earlier, Andrew, last month on the explosion of social media and AI. I mean, you mentioned the ethical considerations. I mean, tomorrow, let's say if there are 100 videos of Andrew Spoet floating around and we don't know which one is authentic Andrew and which one is AI Andrew. I mean, what happens when, and we really, I see that happening very soon, especially if you are a public facing speaker or some kind of a guru in a certain area, and the next thing, people are using you and creating avatars of you and sharing audio and video, which really appears like Andrew, but it's really not you. And do you think that could be an issue going forward?
I fear it absolutely is an issue, and will be easier for the bad actors to pull off. I mean, some of the tools that I've encountered are staggering in what they can do in terms of mimicking a voice. Some of this has been around and it's been kind of expensive and more, technical a few years ago, but now almost anybody can use it. So there's a responsibility on behalf of the user who signs up for this tool, on behalf of the tool builders, and also on behalf of society and our elected officials on how to work with this. I hope that the social media platforms become more robust in terms of how they, show which profile is a legitimate one, but then also, which is a lot more difficult, which content is associated
Exactly.
with. That is a huge challenge.
I mean, do you see some certificates like on top of everything saying this is authentic, like social media video, or this is not? I mean, how we used to have those things like on the background, and I don't know where the world is going to go, because I can see that happening very soon, because it will be very hard to then differentiate, is this real or this is not? Anyway, I want to open it up for the audience here for questions. I think there was one in the chat. Maybe you want to take that. Khan Academy's role. I don't know. Maybe it was a question for them or for you. But go ahead, please, folks. Go ahead and unmute your mic and fire away your questions for Andrew. I'm sure you have a bunch of them. So it's your platform.
All right. So this is Arthur. Andrew, I have more questions than we have time for, because this is not just confusing, but I had no idea when I started looking at AI, specifically for me, ChatGPT. I only started using that a couple of weeks ago, and that really helped me develop or redevelop a course that I was already creating around what I write about. But now I look at this and you see all these different sites that you're speaking about. I'm guessing these are very specific to a piece of your business and not so general, because I don't understand why I couldn't ask ChatGPT to do whatever specialty these sites are working in. So help me understand that a little bit. It's very, very confusing at this point.
That's a great question, Arthur. So ChatGPT is like I would think, for example, of a Swiss Army knife. It is a large language model with a huge number of what they call parameters. It's trained on a very large data set of all sorts of topics, but it doesn't go super deep into any specific topics. You'll notice this if you're, let's say, an expert in a very specific geographical area or specific author. If you really, you'll notice where it starts to overgeneralize its answers. That's because of how it was trained. A large volume of data and good at answering, broader questions. These other tools that you see differentiate in that they are sometimes based on that, on an existing large language model. And then what they do is they train it with additional specialized documentation or books or data or websites, which are tailored to that specific task at hand. So that's typically how a lot of these tools work. Now, some of them, though, don't even use something like ChatGPT's API. They have a much smaller data set and are really good at just very narrow tasks. So there's pluses and minuses to using some of these tools. They can help you do a really good job with a specific task, but there's a bit of a hurdle you have to overcome in getting to know a new user interface, new way to work. And so nobody's going to be using 500 tools, but what'll happen over the long term is you'll probably have ChatGPT open in one browser tab, and then 3 or 4 other tools which help you to, for example, get your course from where it is to where you want to take it.
So I have just a quick question. Oh, go ahead, Cynthia.
I was just going to say, you also have to be careful because some of them are not great tools. Like Jarvis and Writer and a bunch of the AI writing tools I reviewed at depth. And they're great for more creative writing, but when it gets to informative writing, they were bringing back a lot of very bad data, especially things on like biographies. They were bringing back incorrect birth and death rates, death dates, and incorrect people biographies attached to who you thought you were getting a biography on. And so you've got to be careful about those types of things. I ditched those as soon as ChatGPT launched because ChatGPT was coming back with much more accurate data. So you have to be careful. Just because they have a curated prompt, which is what those guys do, doesn't mean that their data pool is correct. So you have to be cautious about what you're getting back. When Jarvis and those guys came out, there's a proliferation of articles on the internet that are all wrong because nobody did any fact checking. So if you're writing with ChatGPT, or any of those types of things, make sure that you always check your sources on what's coming back. Make sure that you fact check because, all of the systems do what they call hallucinations, which is they make up stuff. A guy just got in trouble in court because he did ChatGPT for court cases, submitted them to the court, and they were all made up.
Oh my goodness.
So he got sanctioned by the court for turning in bogus stuff. As an attorney, he didn't fact check any of them. His fact check was asking ChatGPT if they were real cases, and it said, sure. So you have to be careful about data. The tools are just tools. Arthur, I put in a thing for a plugin for ChatGPT called AIPRM. It's a community plugin for ChatGPT that has, I think they're at like just about 4,000 prompts that have been engineered by people that are experts in their areas most of the time. Some of them aren't very good, but some of them are amazing. And you can tell it you can pull up one on outlining a chapter, and you can give it your topic and some information, and it will outline your chapter for you.
Thank you for that. To interrupt you for a second, I found it interesting because when I'm writing my course, this is all the information that I've been immersed in for decades. Mm-hmm. So I know what I want it to do, basically. So I'm checking it as well for my content. But as you said, if I didn't know anything about the subject matter, I could produce something that's totally false.
Yes. The nice thing about the plugin is that it gives you, outlines based on what it knows. A lot of times, even though you're a subject matter expert, it'll cue you on something that maybe you didn't consider that you should put in. So you can add it to your thing, but it helps with structure and stuff. And there's a lot of really great prompts in that, obviously 4,000 prompts that have been engineered. And it's community, it's free. There's an upgrade, but I wouldn't bother with it. So anyway, great tool.
The
I have a
term,
quick question. I have a quick question. So Andrew, and thank you guys for your input. So Andrew, because obviously you do have a lot of a lot more experience, you know, and stuff under your belt, because AI has been around for a long time. We all know that, and it's just a matter that the Chat GPT is actually now released and available for the masses, and that's why all this fire hose is happening, right? Because AI still does not have emotional intelligence. Well, at least it's not released yet. And that's most likely coming probably rather sooner than later. And in your, I don't want to say opinion, but in your experience up until now, how soon do you really think that we're going to see like a real combo of AI with emotional intelligence, with the EI, like literally on our fingertips?
Yeah, that is a big question. Let me
get back to me with that question.
yeah, boy, you know, if I had a definitive answer, of course, boy, I would be famous. Let me just share something which was really interesting for me. So I naturally asked myself, as you do, like, how did we get here with AI? You know, and I've been following this closely for a little while. I was working with chatbots, you know, around 2018 already, but and then, you know, I was hearing a lot about machine learning in the, you know, last 10 years, but how did we get here? So I thought, I'm probably not the only one with this question. Let me build something which walks us through it. And let me use AI to build this. Now, the first thing that happened is, of course, AI built something really quickly, but it was riddled with errors, date errors and sources. So I basically went through each one of these and rebuilt it myself. But what you have here is you've got, and you'll see it on the website, you've got you know, videos, the news stories, links to stories. So what this showed me is that AI has a deep foundation. I went back to 1950, but there's a lot of different things that have led to this point. So a couple of things. One is the world's not going to end, you know, due to AI this year.
Thank you.
That's my first prediction. I hope I'm right with that. Second thing is the way AI is built, and the website's logo is like this, is it's trained to mimic and predict what'll come next in text based on everything it's read. Kind of like a parrot. And it doesn't mean it's not possible for it to have, you know, unique kind of combinations. In fact, that's one of the best and most interesting things about a large language model and a chatbot is it'll help you sometimes see connections you wouldn't otherwise have recognized. And it does understand what emotion is, and you know, you can tell it to write something with a certain emotion in mind. I still think that the heroes are not going to be, it's not going to be HAL or AI or Siri. It's going to be people who know how to use AI well to build great things, to write great things, to tell great stories, to do it better, faster. That's what I'm leaning towards. I don't think humans are going to be taken out of the equation. I certainly hope not. You know, they talk about the Turing test, which basically says, at what point will we not be able to tell if we're dealing with a human or an AI? And it's what we're seeing, I think, is there's different levels to that, right? You have chatbots on websites, you have deep fake videos. You have, I think it's not going to be just like a binary kind of thing. I think it's going to be an evolution. And I think we are already thinking about and building technological solutions on how to best make sure that it works well for humanity. So
great point. It's a great point.
Yeah.
I mean, one question I had, Andrew, is I use ChatGPT to get some ideas and things like email subject lines or a marketing punchline, if you may, and things more concise. I look for more concise ways to describe things, right? So, but I've asked ChatGPT at times, like, what is the source of this, and it always gives me some kind of a roundabout, circuitous answer. It never actually pinpoints to me a source. It basically says it's for many things that it has learned, and I mean, to me, is that going to be a problem going forward? Because if ChatGPT can't really tell us the exact source of certain knowledge that it's providing us, then how do we actually use it?
You just asked it the wrong way. You can get it to source its information.
Cynthia was saying about that, and Andrew earlier, Sanjay, it's just the way it's trained. It is not a magic wand. And by you asking better questions, you're going to get better answers, and obviously, or the greatest answers. So, Andrew just spoke about it when he was going through. So maybe you want to but it's just a matter of training the AI. And I think both Cynthia and Andrew mentioned, Andrew definitely mentioned, it's a flood of so many different platforms that you simply just have to dig into it and carefully choose, at least for now, the ones that they're beneficial to all of us and humanity, and the ones who are like just garbage.
No, but Sanjay, on the issue of sourcing, if you say, what are your sources for what you just wrote, it won't give you the answer. It gives you the walk around.
Yeah.
But if you say, where did this piece of information come? If you pull one of the facts and put it in, then it gives you the source.
Okay.
You have to ask, prompt engineering is kind of precise. So you have to precisely ask it where something in particular came from. Otherwise it says, I'm a natural language model and I have all this data. But if you say,
so you're saying from the answer, pick a specific
pick specific facts, because the rest is all fluff, right? So if you go in and for the particular facts and you say, where did this fact come from? It will give you one or possibly more than one sources that fact can be found.
Absolutely.
And that's what it pulled from. So
that's
you can
great
get
to
it
know.
to source.
That's great to know. Thank you. Yeah.
Great tips.
And what's interesting, Sin and Sania, is that asking the right question, there's some tips as well. We probably all use them. And, when I talk and do research in neuroscience, it gives me crazy answers. But if I say, act as if a specialist in neuroplasticity, I get the better answer. So when I ask it to perform as if they're a expert in neuroplasticity, I get better replies than if I say, what is neuroscience? You know what I mean? I don't get the generality. So the prompt engineering, those asking the questions with specificity, is so much more helpful in my experience as a use case.
That's a great point as well. Thank you, Richard. Yeah. So I quick time check. We are 25 past our scheduled departure time. It's still going strong. So I would like to ask one final question for Andrew, and it could be anybody in the audience. So if anyone has a pressing question for Andrew, otherwise we'll have him share his final thought. Okay, Verlaine, you go ahead, you raised your hand. And then I'll have Andrew share his final thought after Verlaine's question about the future of AI. Where do we see this train? I guess I'm going to call it the train. Where do you think it's going to go in the next 5 years? So Verlaine, go ahead, please. Unmute your mic, Verlaine.
That's a simple question. Just what is your favorite right now for doing photos, doing pictures? You have a great one where you did the hat with the pirate hat and
Yeah.
everything.
Thank you.
And when I've tried to do that, they change the face. And so I don't know what I'm doing wrong about that, you know, where you do show me as a Russian princess from the, you know, and then I have a new face. That's good. But and anyway, for any kind of picture, what have you found the best right now?
Okay, what have I found the best for pictures? And like you, I was seeing these pop up everywhere, avatars, so depictions of us, or people I know, landscapes, everything. And then at some point, I just spent a few hours with one tool, and I'm really glad I made that investment because it helped me overcome that hurdle. And the tool I worked with is Midjourney. I can include it in a follow-up email, Midjourney. And the confusing thing with Midjourney is you have to use a separate tool, separate app or website called Discord.
Oh,
We'll know it, but Discord is kind of like a, it's kind of like a chat room, kind of, you could call it social network bulletin board. So it's a separate app, and then different companies or different organizations can have basically their own chat room, and Midjourney has one. So that you have to, get Discord. It's explained on the Midjourney thing. And then, I was first apprehensive. I thought, well, gosh, what should I type? And so the images that I create now is after creating hundreds of images.
Right.
And you can try to read blog posts and to see, but the best thing I've experienced is just trying it out. And then Midjourney is always getting better. They had version 3, then they had version 4, now 5, now 5.2. Each model is more sophisticated and gets more realistic over time. So I think if you spend a bit of time with it, you'll probably get some, and you can also upload a photo now. For example, upload a photo of yourself and then add some descriptors to it. And that's kind of how I got this crazy handsome captain photo.
Yeah, I used Dream Studio. I did work with Midjourney, but it seemed really complicated. And then I found Dream Studio, I think it's called, and it's very easy. So that was fun. And I was doing things like, say, a raccoon with, like for a children's book, a raccoon with a golden bowl. It was absolutely wonderful. Just boom, there it was, and a lot of personality in it. So
Verlaine, you should try playgroundai.com.
Okay.
It's free up to 1,000 images a day, and believe it or not, I've maxed it out. And
Playground AI.
Playgroundai.com.
Cynthia, if you don't mind, can you add that in the chat? If you don't
Sure.
mind.
It's an easy one to use. It's like Dream Studio, but it doesn't cost like they do. And they have a number of different AI models built into the system. And they've just added in the canvas feature so that you can do expanded canvas generation. And then there's also, if you're into any kind of video included with your AI,
I like that.
There's Runway ML, which is, they just went to generation 2. They just took it wide out of their beta, and it's spectacular.
Wow.
Absolutely amazing. And if you want to take a look at something that's brand new, that's hysterically fun, take a look at Lalamoo. And Lalamoo is, it allows you to create a 3D, 360-degree image that in their viewer, it will pan around the image. And I've actually used it to put one of our characters from our kids company. I've put the character in. What it does is it lip syncs your characters. You can take a picture of a doll or a statue or anything that has a mouth. In our case, it was an animated character. And you can type in the language and pick a voice, or in my case, I generated the voice on something else and brought it in. Or you could record your own voice and put it in. But it lip syncs, and it has the best lip sync bar none. It makes Adobe's lip sync like a joke. But I've used Lalamu for that, and the one that I did the 360 on, actually those are two different programs. The 360 generator is Blockade. Hold on just a second. Yeah, Skybox. So it's Skybox Blockade. Here, I'll put it in. This is the 360 generator.
And the other one was La La Lu, Lu.
Okay, so it's
Lamu.
Lu.
MU.
It's on beta. So you have to come in the right way. But it's here, they've got a demo up that you can come into. So this is Lalamu. So those are a lot of fun. But they're all free, all of them. So pop in and have fun with them.
Thank you.
Sure.
All right, Andrew, the podium is yours. The last thought on where do you see AI, the future for businesses? 5 to 10 years, are we going to do this Zoom meeting, or would it be all AI and we'll be all at a beach somewhere?
And then the AI's meeting with each other and then giving us an update.
Why do we need to do this?
Yeah. I don't think it'll be quite that, I mean, this is great for us, right? This is how we, this is important for us. And so I think the AIs could perhaps help us, so my slides today were created with a tool, an AI tool, which, I use just for this purpose. I think it's very exciting right now with AI, which is a good thing and bad thing. The excitement and energy is good. I think we're feeling it that, we've had a few tough years, and this is some new energy, some new optimism, which is needed, which is good. People get creative. People are working hard, and some things will do spectacularly well, and some things will do okay, and some things will fail. I think some jobs will, there'll be new jobs opening up and some jobs being replaced, most certainly, as with any kind of major new technology. I think some of the hype will, be displaced by, it'll be more embedded and ingrained. It'll be more kind of just, our typical work process or how we do things. And it won't be like, oh, I used AI to do this. It's like, well, of course you used AI to do this. Just like, with social media, when it was first on the scene, everybody was, it was the natural hype cycle. I think we'll probably see some regulation, and we'll see some missteps, some shipwrecks. If you're talking about the AI navigator, some bad actors. Just as we've seen with, in cyberspace and security, but we'll see, people doing great things, and I think, some jobs which were super tedious in the past will be so much simpler moving forward, and I hope that we'll be, more creative and better versions of ourselves 5 years from now.
Absolutely. I think those are great parting thoughts, Andrew. I've heard crazy things about one day AI will map your brain, and then your brain can live forever in this infinite world that we are in. And who knows if that happens? That would be interesting too, right? So there could be Andrew Spoeth in 25th century out there, and saying something new because the brain is out there active somewhere. And I don't know, those are some exciting things to even consider. But in any case, that's the future, folks. Andrew, thank you so much for sharing some amazing insights. Can't appreciate enough for you taking the time, building a great presentation for us, and then sticking around for some awesome Q&A. So thank you, sir. And thank you, folks, for attending. All this happens because of you and your support. So I appreciate all of you being here. Have a great 4th of July holiday. Happy Independence Day to all of you. And our next roundtable, we are planning towards July 20th and 27th. Stay tuned for the topics. But again, have a great holiday weekend coming up. And I guess a few things we are going to go out and enjoy. So let's go out and enjoy the nature. And there's no AI in there, so let's not forget that. So on that note,
Signing
you all
off
have a good.
I'm the Arthur AI signing off.
Great to meet you all.
Andrew, thank you so much for
Andrew.
the links to the timeline and the directory. The timeline is dope.
Oh, you're welcome, Cynthia. I'm glad you approve. Yeah, thank you. For,
It's really great.
yeah, great to meet you all. Thanks.
Bye.
Yeah, nice to meet everybody.
I'm the original OG saying goodbye.
I don't see your signature,
Yeah.
Richard.
It's fantastic. Thank you so much for putting such a nice, clear spotlight on it. I really appreciate you.